and you guys should all have your disclaimer or whatever. So now let's call this meeting to order. Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council Youth and Outreach Committee agenda meeting. Tuesday, October 25th, 2021. It is 5:37 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Welcome, everyone. Is everybody here? I forget who, except Maya.
Yeah, Kelly's not here.
Oh.
Angela's not going to be here. She let us know it's her daughter's 16th birthday. So, but I didn't hear from Kelly. John, can you text her?
I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay. And I think that's everybody.
Is Maya on the committee now?
Oh, she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I guess we need to ask her, you know, she said yes, but.
Yeah, we haven't met since then, or she was.
She actually hasn't attended any yet, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I can take the notes if you want.
Yes, please, thank you. So at the risk of having to repeat anything, I think, does anyone have any public comment on non-agenda items?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Lauren.
So you're not going to like this.
Fine, okay.
I would like to not be co-chair of this committee anymore. I will continue to stay on the committee, but I'd like to pull back on that.
Denied.
I second the motion.
You second the denial?
Yeah.
You can't make me. Listen, I'll still help you with the meeting minutes and everything. And I just consider myself at this point more advisory. I've been around a long time. I'm glad to assist, but other people need to step up and learn all the processes.
I'm right here. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think you know, honestly,
I put my time in, right?
Yeah, you've kind of gone ahead and made your mark. Okay,
I guess the question, Chris, is does somebody else want to be co-chair, or are you comfortable just being chair for now?
Well, I mean, right now our workload is pretty light and pretty simple. I mean, I think also we have a group of people who seem like they will be willing and able to help out with the stuff that's coming up in the near future. So I think for now, I mean, you know, really, I'm just getting myself in the habit of preparing the agenda and all those kind of official things. You know, if somebody wants that, you know, we can discuss that. But I think at this point, based on how we're doing, because with no newsletter in production, with no pathways, with no that stuff looming exactly, this is a good as time as any, you know, for me to sort of get bedded in.
Thank you. I appreciate you understanding.
Well, no, I do. And so is there anything we need to do like on an official basis? Does this have to be a
yes, since I'm doing the meeting notes, I'll send that in to excuse me, be on the consent calendar for the board agenda.
Okay. All righty. Anybody else have public comment on a non-agenda item? Okay, well, go ahead, Thomas.
Well, just in reaction to this news, and I want to thank Lori Jacobs for years of service. I'm not sure how many, but just from the conversation I've had, seeing you at work at the health fair, you know, appreciate what you've helped to build, and wish you well as you focus your time elsewhere.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, very well put. And in fact, it's several years. It's quite a few years with quite a lot of work, and I mean, really, some of the things like pathways, not the least of which, are kind of the cornerstone of our outreach efforts, and like very high profile and very well recognized. It's big shoes to fill, and you know, we'll just see what we can get up to. But you know, again, she'll be nearby, so we can always hassle her for input.
Oh yeah, I'm open to hassling. Thank you.
And myself, I have a comment. Essentially, this is just kind of a heads up. Along with public safety committee, or organizing and I've spoken to the president, and he's given his sort of approval and consent. The board coming up for the board consideration at the next meeting will be a motion to hold a joint special meeting of neighborhood councils relating to the events of, 2 Saturdays ago now at Point Furman Park. So I've been talking to Craig Goldfarb and to Melanie Lebrecq kind of about the content and what our agenda should be. Public safety is Thursday night, and I will be putting a kind of a, you know, obviously it's going to be their motion to make, and I'll be attending, but I'm going to suggest a couple of bullet points as to, you know, how the meeting should be organized and the sort of things we want to sort of like the broad topics we want to include to try and bake in a little structure before people start ranting, which is absolutely going to happen. But my own personal approach is this: I want to talk about and get some answers on consistency in law enforcement and their procedures and resources and things like that. So as far as youth and outreach, I think we'll probably just be doing some publicity for it once things have been, you know, an agenda and the date and that sort of stuff has been set. But more or less, public safety is going to take the lead, probably with some input from issues. Lori?
So just to be clear, I see that public safety has it on their agenda. Is there going to be some further discussion besides what happens at public safety?
I think it would be kind of a draft agenda for the meeting itself, something to present to the board to talk about what it is we actually want to do, you know.
I just want to say this about that, okay? You know, I've had my issues over the years with LAPD, but I don't in this case. And while I'm very disgusted by the type of protest that was being held at Point Furman Park, I am in no way agree with anything that the Proud Boys, you know, represent, because it represents hate and bigotry. However, the First Amendment says that they have the right to protest, and our police department forewarned us. They had police officers there ahead of time, barricades. They made sure there were no weapons, there was no violent episodes. They encouraged people not to show up to try and antagonize them, because you just be feeding the bullies. So I really don't understand what the discussion is. The police kept us safe that day. The people keep thinking that they should have denied them the right to be there because they need a permit. You do not need a permit to have a protest. That is our First Amendment. So Chris, I got to tell you, I mean, we're just outreach, but I'm really very baffled by the whole thing.
Yeah, well, and again, it's not my own personal approach, and I you know, I've discussed this again, at least in introductory sense with some other people. It's not about whether or not they have the right to be there. That's, you know, that's the baseline reality of it. They do. It's really about their conduct and the conduct of the police in that particular situation and how it reflects to other issues going on in the community. So it's you know, there were a group of 40 to 50 of these people in the park for whatever reason, and there was a group of nearly 3 times as many police officers who, and despite, you know, evidence being captured in video and still photos and things like that, they claim not to have seen weapons. They claim not to have seen, you know, other incidents. And I honestly, I'm just kind of skeptical, and I really just want to press CD15 on their communications beforehand. I want to press LAPD, because it's pretty clear that when they need to find an infraction, they can find an infraction. And I don't know how those 50 guys managed not to spit on the sidewalk or to cross anybody, because the captain said to us point blank, and I know we're going a little into the weeds here, but basically it's, I want CD15, I want Harbor Division and maybe City Attorney and Parks to reconcile what have been differing points made about how these things should happen. And so it's not so much about the permits, it's not so much about anyone's right to do this, but it's about how this scenario went down, how it contrasts with other administration of park usage. And, you know, and again, there's an aspect of community policing that I want to address, because it doesn't seem, you know, consistent with their own messaging, plus the experience of a variety of people. So
Just
it's, you know,
keep in mind, the more we discuss this, the more you are feeding the bully and giving them publicity for their event. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, and then but the you know, another take might be that by simply allowing them to come and feel as though the police were protecting them, it's encouraged them to return. Like, why would they not return with the response they've gotten? You know, it's nothing. Again, captain's own words, he didn't want them here. And he said if there's something he could have done to get rid of them, he would have, which, you know, I'm not sure if that's going too far. But again, my whole point was that's not the way it always works in parks. That's not the way it always works when there are gatherings of a questionable nature, or, you know, it seems like, you know, there's some cherry picking done in terms of when things are enforced or not, which of course I guess is their purview. But in this particular case, this seems like a good test case for what do you guys say you should be doing? Did that happen this time? And going forward, you know, what should we expect? Because, you know, this will happen, but I want to make sure that the community's got its priorities communicated, you know. So anyway, we'll discuss all this
All
more.
right, I appreciate that. And our job as outreach is to gather the information and inform our stakeholders with what's going on. I probably said more than I should have on a non-agenda item, my bad.
Well, I mean, it really,
We
there
can
are
move
several
on.
people, who felt that the meeting that the police ran was kind of incomplete. And really, that's the point, is that there were people who had more that they wished to ask and to say. They weren't given the opportunity. The police, Harbor is talking about holding another of their own meetings. And pretty quickly we thought, you know what, why don't we have our meeting? Why don't we set the agenda and set the tone so that, you know, we essentially can try and get more out of the conversation than we got on their court. So that's what this is really about. And, you know, I know it's going to go a bunch of different places, but it's a conversation worth having. So anyway, any other public comment on non-agenda items? Hearing none.
I did get a text from Kelly. She's out of the area. Right now, she can't log on.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have minutes for her. All right, so moving on to item number 3. So by defined production / editorial process for e-newsletter content, we just had a sort of we went around a couple of rounds via email over the last week or so about who is allowed to sort of submit things without editorial oversight to Christina to be published in the e-newsletter. So who, what, when, why, and how, basically. I think what we arrived at is that, and I guess, Lori, I'm going to need you to correct me because I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Essentially, that committee chairs and or the executive board have sort of the purview, or they have the discretion to simply give things to Christina and have those go. Okay, so she's correcting me. But what we're asking is that Youth and Outreach be copied on all potential submissions for the newsletter, the e-newsletter, so that we don't put something out there that's simply, maybe too narrow or not appropriate or whatever. So if there's some editorial oversight that goes through Youth and Outreach before Christina gets it, and specifically that Christina herself cannot choose items to include without having referred to a board member, because this is a more frequent and more informal voice that the board uses, but it is still, it's our communications, and one of us or some of us are, there should be a person who's answerable, because let's say hypothetically something goes out that's untrue or offensive or inflammatory or whatever, one of us would probably be called to explain why it happened or who approved it. So like a newspaper, the editor decide what goes in, not the reporter, not the printer. So I think what we're clarifying is that people still, as on a spontaneous level, if they have something to feel that should go out in the e-newsletter, it can, for the most part, go in there, but that it really needs to go through the leadership of Youth and Outreach, so that we know what's being put out, essentially, that we're not ever taken by surprise when someone gets an idea, that may or may not reflect the opinion or the attitude of the board.
Can I shed some light on this and why this even came up, as so everybody else here understands?
Yeah.
So there's guidelines, as you've all taken your training, that we can't speak out on political campaigns or support businesses that are for profit. We have guidelines to follow. And so I've always watched it very carefully. And so let's start with committee chairs. We've always asked them to either submit something to Outreach, or they can submit it to Christina, but copy us, so we can just double check that, yes, that's kosher, that fits the rules. Okay. And for the most part, that's worked fairly well. And we have to keep an eye on it because sometimes even I've lost sight and sent something over to Christina and she dug a little bit and she said, that's not a nonprofit, and I missed it, or, it crosses the line. So that's why we have the checks and balances. And so what happened was a couple of weeks ago, and let me say this, we've given Christina some flexibility. She does newsletters for other neighborhood councils. I feed her, Chris feeds her, Vic now jumps in and so does Diana. I subscribe to a lot of different sites. So whether it comes from the Chamber of Commerce or somebody else, I'll say, hey, here's an event, or here's something that's relevant to include. We've given Christina flexibility that if another neighborhood council sends something or she runs across it and it appears to follow all the rules, go ahead. You don't have to say, Mother, may I every time. Sometimes she asks me, sometimes I ask her. But a couple weeks ago, she put something in about Joe Buscaino's wanting to put on the ballot the anti-camping for the homeless. Okay, now Joe in the past has put in 2 motions to city council, which rejected both of them. So now Joe is putting it through to try and have it on the ballot as a vote. What I felt was he's using this as part of his mayor campaign. And she posted it and said that it came from Joe. She had Joe Buscaino, that, and it was almost like the board hadn't discussed it. We didn't weigh in on it. And I questioned her and she said, oh, it just sounds interesting. Well, I tried very hard to be impartial. You know how I feel about homeless issues, but I have to also look at what the rules are for the neighborhood council. And this came across as supporting Joe Buscaino's campaign. And so I questioned it. And when I did, I copied Chris and Christian and Diana, who's always given me direction on what we can and cannot do. Christina still felt it was okay. I felt it crossed a line. So let's open that up. And I see Mr. Norman has his hand up.
Thank you. Even before the example that you provided, I still am not comfortable, letting a staff person have that say, even though they're trying to find good things. I think at least, one of the chairs or, chair of the president of the board should look at everything. I think that's just kind of best practice. We're elected and we know our community. So there should always be some eyes on that before it goes into any communication, representing. So that's how I'd feel that would, then we wouldn't even have to look at the merits of this particular case. We just have our own process and then to decide on whether or not it was too political. I do think it's a difficult line when we're discussing policy issues. I'd have to see the more facts to kind of rule in that case, because dealing with people experiencing homelessness, it may merit communication, but I think I would trust our collective sense with all the data to decide if we feel it's favoring a particular candidate or not.
And let me say too, I mean, she's done other things where, like, I'll see something that Nanette Barragon or Ted Lieu put through on climate control or something. I copy and paste the information and send it to her just as informational. I never include the elected official's picture and name, because that's like we're endorsing, even though they're already elected. And so, but she's been, if you look at the past couple of e-newsletters, not last week's, but the week before, you'll see a whole bunch of that. And I think as a practice, we should be careful. You can put the content, but you really shouldn't put that particular elected officials, unless it's like a meeting and it's part of them. But I agree with you, Dr. Norman, that we need to have some oversight, and that will just control this issue a little bit. And maybe we need to redefine what's okay. But I mean, we all know, you can't publish anything for a profit business. I caught that Central Neighborhood Council a couple of weeks ago. It had a new outreach chair, didn't realize, and she was posting something about I forgot the name of the business, the place across the street from Point Farm and Park. They got a new Walker's Cafe. They got a new sign. So she goes, oh, look in the community, we got a new sign. Well, that was like an endorsement for a restaurant. We can't do that. And sometimes you get all excited, but we have to pull back on, and it wasn't our council, so I didn't say anything. It's not my role to question another council. So if that's the case, Chris, we just need to advise Christina that anything that goes in the e-newsletter needs to come from outreach. It can come from a committee chair if outreach has been copied. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think that is, yeah, I mean, that's what we'd ask. I mean, yeah, again, hopefully we'd have enough committee chairs generating enough content and enough interest that there would be things to review. But I think it should be basically that the standard should be that we're sort of given, the editorial oversight. And if we miss it or we agree with it or whatever, then again, if it ever comes back to have to be discussed or answered for, then it would be myself or Christian or whoever, knowing that we need to at least take a peek at these emails, it gives the responsibility to the chair or to the president, and just makes it simpler. Like Thomas was saying, and I absolutely agree. It's about the structure. It's not, it's not about this particular topic, which I don't think has any sort of, political or moral or philosophical issues with it. I think for me, it was that we're not CD15's voice, we're our own, and we have a limited use of our own voice in the way we represent Northwest. So whatever it is we put out, whether we're, copy pasting, as you said, Lori, we're copy pasting someone else's message, we should be publishing it because this is what we, more or less collectively agree upon, not, just this is what Representative Barragan said. She's got people for that. So,
I think an exception to that would be as if an elected is calling a town hall that we want to publicize and say, hey, there, here's the topics. You have to kind of mention the elected's name if it's their town hall.
It makes sense if referring to that person by name is relevant to the thing we're publicizing. It's not supposed to be anonymous, but again, the message should be from us, even if it's, and again, the idea is what's important, not the person who generates it. Like, do we think this is a good idea or not? And if it is, then it kind of belongs to everybody once it leaves.
And if the board has voted on something, then you can include everything if the board has supported it. Now, two things I want to make point on. One, Vic Christensen's got quite an eye for finding things and has been sending things to Christina. He is not a committee chair. He is on the executive board. So, but I've asked him to copy you and I, but you decide if that's okay. But the other thing is who we want to watch out for is the city attorney. Yeah. I did a little bit of research on the issue that I was concerned about with Christina, and somebody who I respect quite a bit, has been in neighborhood council for a long time, said if the city attorney saw that, they might have kind of slapped your hand. And for some of the board members who are a little newer, about, I want to say 4 years ago, or maybe it was even 5, the outreach chair let something go into our printed newsletter that had something that was sort of against the Rancho tanks. And that guy watches for us all the time. And he contacted the city attorney. And for about a year, we couldn't publish anything that didn't go through the city attorney ahead of time. We got our hands slapped. So I will never forget that. And so I'm always extra careful.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it was that the perception was that we were giving more coverage to one side of a topic than another, that we didn't do our due diligence in making sure.
Actually, what happened is she used a picture in the article. Right. And there was somebody standing in the background with some kind of sign that was anti-Rancho. Yeah, I think it was unintentional, but it doesn't matter. It happened.
Right. And so, like, to the casual observer, the content of the photo, and again, the editorial decision to publish it would have sent the message that, this is the side of the story we're putting out. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a representative of the company who complained about it or something like that?
Well, that's because we had a lobbyist who used to come to every one of our meetings.
Right, but I thought some of that started with him anyway.
No, her.
But yeah, so that's the principle essentially, is that if we theoretically create a legal issue for the city, they will come muzzle us or to put a leash on us at least. And it's just simpler if we police ourselves, because we're not going to like if they have to come do it for us, we're not going to like.
Do we need to? I don't think we really need to. Well, I don't know if we need to tell the board. We obviously need to contact Christina and say the outreach committee, has met because of this issue. We'd like to kind of pull back a little bit and, run it by us. if you see something that we haven't submitted. But I guess we have to kind of mention it at the board meeting because you're giving committee chairs process.
I think so. I mean, again, in the same stroke, I would like to ask them for things to include. We just want more robust and regular messaging if they have something worth talking about. But I think it should go in the report for the next board meeting so that, you know, everybody's on the same page as recently as possible. So, you know, and again, this isn't a huge issue, but it's just easier for us to put this out when it's just a little spark, you know.
It could be huge. So
It could be, you're right. And
I
so
could
this is
put
just
it
an easy
in-
way to do it.
I could put it in this report, Chris, and then you could just cover it here. And then that would be covered in the board agenda. Does that work?
Yeah. That's fine. And you know, just a condensed version of what we just said, really, that this is the way it's going to work and this is why. You know.
Okay, got it.
Hey, Chris, can
Yes,
you
sir.
transfer Andrea? She must have went
Oh.
out. She's back in attendees.
Thank you. I noticed when she left, but I didn't see her come back. Whoops, panelist. Where is she? There we go. Welcome back. Okay.
We have to stop talking about her now.
Yeah. But she's the best. So how
That's
can we ever
right.
do that? Does anybody else have any input or question comment on item number 3? Audrey, in case you missed the end of that, basically, we're just we're going to clarify for the board that I guess we're going to say committee chairs and executive committee members can submit items for the e-newsletter, but they need to copy youth and outreach for kind of final editorial approval or, you know, last opportunity to remove. Does that sound right, Laurie?
Mhm. I didn't know
Okay.
you were throwing an executive committee in there, so I just.
Well, I mean,
It's fine with me.
I guess it's really just sort of been based on, I mean, I guess we're calling this youth and outreach committee policy because it's not a standing rule, it's not bylaws.
Well, why are we limiting it then? Why can't any board member who sees something submit it? The only problem is you might have, 10 people submitting the same thing. That's why Christina kind of wanted them to go through outreach because for a while she was getting things from Vic and from me. And she said, Lori, Vic already sent this to me. And I'm like, how do I know that? So maybe we need to really think about this because we're going to overload her. Maybe they really need to come through outreach.
That was the overloading. I mean, that was the aspect I was thinking is if there's just a reduced number of people, that if it's a committee chair, if it's an issue that has something, if it comes out of issues or sustainability or whatever, there should be some kind of funnel where there's a conversation, at least, not one person is not going to get something in that newsletter by themselves, and it will only be like, you know what I mean? So it should just simply the way like the motions that things move up through the committees is that things get discussed at a broader sense. They jump a stage so that I don't see any necessary harm in allowing all board members to do that, but I think it would just kind of reduce
Chris, I think every board member
ahead.
should be able to bring it to the central point, but in the way I operate other committees as a committee chair is at focal point. So there's one person or two people if you have co-chairs. So I think it should all go through this committee and go through you. The executive group can then direct us, to do things and encourage us, get our input. But I think we really want that single point of contact. So at least you're looking at it, unless it's yours, and then there should be a check on you, right? So,
Right.
there's typically a check if the chair, but normally the chair passes the gavel, metaphorically. And so that would be my recommendation that we keep that. I don't want to burden our president, but it doesn't exclude anybody else on the board from coming to us, right? People can attend these meetings, people can ask for things to be on there, and then we can just agendize as we're talking about this generally today. Our next meeting, we could say, we could quickly bring up any of the ones that might be more controversial and get wider input. This picture's great, but maybe somebody would think it's anti-environmental, and John's yay, Alec is nay type of thing. But I think 99% can be resolved by our chair. We elect to do that position. We have a lot of trust in you.
So I just want to clarify what I'm hearing. So if a board member sees an event or something they think, wow, the stakeholders should know about that board member, if they're not a committee chair, should send it directly to outreach, or they should send it to their committee chair?
everybody, chair or board member, just plain board member like me, should send it to the chair of outreach, right? Isn't outreach's goal to do the communications?
Yeah, and
Aren't you
yes,
glad I stepped off, Chris?
well, sure. No, I mean,
You don't
it's
wanna work,
again,
Chris.
it's easier to talk about it now than to talk about it after it, crashes into a tree. So, yeah, I mean, the reality is that not everybody's generating a ton of content. Most of what goes out is from a relatively small number of people that we're already familiar with. So I guess I don't have a problem, and if it became one, we could simply change our policy. I don't have a problem with people just submitting directly to me, considering that I'm seeing that stuff basically now. That's what I've asked to have happen. I would like for people to, if it's, I guess it gives us more flexibility in terms of our awareness of what's going on in the community. So if you're a member of the port committee, but you see something that's environmental but not port related or whatever, you don't have to forget about it or lose it. You have an avenue to bring those things up that isn't go through your normal.
So Chris, let me play a little bit of devil's advocate. Sometimes there's things that are time sensitive.
Yeah.
She does the e-newsletter once a week, usually on Friday or Saturday. So if you see something that's time sensitive and you don't have, are you going to say that you'll look at anything within 24 hours?
Yeah, I end up doing that anyway. And I'm going to try and come up with I'll try and think of a way to have people flag it or mark it so that.
Well, I can tell you a way. Okay. So I do this with Christina because she gets emails from 10 different neighborhood councils.
Right, yeah.
So I always put the subject line, NWSPNC e-newsletter item. I put that as the subject. So what she does is she takes those, as soon as she sees that, she puts them in her e-newsletter folder. And then when she starts the newsletter, they're already there. She doesn't have to read through things.
Yeah.
Being an administrator, that's just the way I think.
No, that makes sense. I use Gmail, and I can actually have it, if people are consistent in how that stuff goes in the subject line, then I can have that sorted automatically and I'll know to look in that.
Okay, so I will put that in the suggestion that if you're going to send something to be considered, that will make it easier for you. You could just pull out those items. Okay.
Yeah. And and again, probably a couple of times a day, I go through, I'll just scroll through it and try and filter anything that looks, like it needs that kind of attention.
Okay.
So, I think that sounds like a reasonable process. And again, it's not like we have just this flood of material coming in. And we just like to, again, bottom line, if anybody ever says, why did you guys send this? What's going on here? I'd like to be able to give an intelligent answer. And that would hopefully be based on my having read the thing before, not to be taken by surprise.
And at the same time, I want all board members to know that they have the option of sending something in, that we're not control freaks over here.
Yeah, no, I don't
Well,
want
maybe a little bit, but
but we're encouraging them to find stuff,
Right, exactly.
Again, I would like to see so many things that we have to ask them to back off. That would be fine, because I would be more than willing to ask them to back off if it becomes overwhelming, but we're no danger of that right now. So,
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, John.
Kelly Miller, attendee.
Oh, thank you. So many buttons.
So Chris, while you're doing that, if we're going to do this, I guess we need to actually write out what the criteria is for something to go in the e-newsletter, that you can't, what you can do, what you can't do.
Well, I think that's a couple of bullet points, isn't it? It's like we're not allowed to endorse.
They should know by now, right?
Well, yeah, and I think it's kind of, it would be a good opportunity reminder, big sense we'll be talking about it anyway, but not to promote private interests, to make sure that the material is being presented as the board's voice and not, repeating, again, it's about the idea, not necessarily any other particular policy. And of course, if one of those things doesn't, we would have to, if I have to reply to somebody and say, hey, this is kind of out of bounds or whatever, then we can have those conversations as needed.
All right, I'll write it up and you can tell me if you want it changed. We can always modify it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other input or interest on item 3? Okay, and moving on to 4, real briefly. I attended, Lori was there as a non-committee attendee, the Cabrillo Health Fair, which was put on by the Chamber of Commerce, and who else? Like there was about 3 groups who put this on. Anyway, it was a
Providence Little Company, Mary.
oh right, some health maintenance companies. Anyway, this was at Cabrillo Marine Aquarium, and basically just the long and short of it is that I thought I had a really good time at the event. There was a really good turnout. I mean, we had good weather. It was at a location where people would obviously be willing to stop by for practically anything. But the important takeaway for me was a good model for public events going forward. First of all, outdoor, good weather when we can get it, as over the winter, these things are going to slow down. But when we're able to partner with or piggyback on other agencies or other events, it's a great way to streamline that process. We can do things, I think, a bit like if we were simply, attending, if they're willing to, we were basically sitting at someone else's table. Central had their own table, and if we can find ways to, communicate more practically and productively with the 2 other San Pedro neighborhood councils for things like this, like we'll bring the card table or they'll bring the pop-up or whatever, and then we can even switch off, like if there's a fee to be paid or whatever, to mean that we get all 3 neighborhood councils on the same page more often, that we enrich and make more robust these types of events. And we also take advantage of the fact that, like, if someone else is going to secure the space for us and add all this other content to the experience, we don't necessarily have to make the whole afternoon. We can simply add to it. And I think it's a great way for us to be more involved without having to clear all the hurdles with city clerk and with, city attorney, and the things that would otherwise, sometimes it would tax the overall value of the event. Like, how much work are we going to have to put in to simply, get a few emails and shake a couple of hands? In this case, I did have some good conversations with passersby. I talked to some other people from other neighborhood councils, and I think it's also a good feel good event for the community, just to see that type of thing happen. And clearly people were getting value out of it. So I think more often than we kind of build something from scratch, we should be looking for opportunities to partner with other people, though it will also give us some ideas and models on how to do it when we do our own thing.
So Chris, a couple of takeaways from me. So Ray stopped by the event, and from his perspective, it looked like that neighborhood council table was just coastal because they used their tablecloth. Okay, and not everybody knows who you are. And even though there were Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council newsletters on the table, so we need to just think in. And first of all, Drew's the new outreach chair. She seems great. She wants to partner, and I think it gives a better engagement and voice for all the neighborhood councils. But we need to find a way so that when somebody goes by, they know this is neighborhood councils.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you that feedback. Also, I did follow up with the chamber. There were over 500 participants who showed up. So that's good. You may call it good weather. I was sitting in the sun. It was hot. Okay. My company didn't give me an easy up. So, and Drew thought she wouldn't need it. So take away from there, when you have an outdoor event, if you're not sure, put the easy up in your car, and then you have that option. But I'm not sure how to make it look like all 3 are there. Maybe we just need to make a stand-up little sign that you put in an acrylic thing that says neighborhood councils, and you list the 3 and show the logos. So it's really clear to anybody walking up that it's all 3.
That's a good point. And I guess my wife's car might be able to hold it, but I don't think I could get a pop-up in mine. And it might not always be necessary, or, we do have that extendable, we have signs, we have flags. It's probably a good idea to make a point of having some kind of specific branding for our neighborhood council. Alexander?
So if you're gonna do a pop-up like that, why not have a sign or something you bring to every event that tags social media with a QR code, so that even if people don't know who you are, they can actually follow you and just get all the news from that just experience in general.
Excellent idea. And I believe that the chair from Coastal Doug told me she was going to do that. I was stuck at my booth the whole time. So I think I walked by there once because it was near the restroom, but did she have a QR code she was using, Chris?
I don't remember one specifically because now you see them so many places. I honestly don't always, doesn't register unless I'm looking for that
But
particular.
it's a
piece of
great
information.
idea.
No, it is-
That's
it is
why
a
we
great
have
idea.
young people here.
Well, and I think it, in terms of the logistics of moving it around and the flexibility of the number of places and how it can be used, it would probably be worth, making a request to get some funds to, I don't know, a banner or a stand up, but basically I'll do a little bit of research.
We have stuff. We have
Right.
banners. We have
Well,
signs. We
right
just,
now, but not-
this event was only one table, but I'd like somebody to look into the QR code for Candy Cane Lane. Maybe
Well,
that'd be the
that's-
place to test it.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like, we don't have one with our information on it, like,
How do you create that?
oh, print it, just send it to the printer and, and again, I'm not sure what types of, I'm thinking of something that can be assembled relatively quickly. It's large enough to see from, a little distance, but it's easy enough for, let's say, one person to take with them and put up quickly, just so that whoever looks that direction knows, nwsanpedro.org or at nwsanpedro, that sort of thing. And it doesn't have to have a lot of detail or whatever, but basically the logo, social media links or website and something that, that's the type of thing that people look for. But I'll see what the pricing looks like for that. Thomas?
I second the idea and, have some of the younger members, maybe, I don't know if we can do subcommittees, maybe come up with a design that could then be printed at a print shop, laminated in a big sign that would fit in your car or fit in anybody's car, even if it's smaller. Do something a little bit new. And then I know they can't vote on budgetary items, but I certainly support that we have something like this with the social media built in. That's our next item. It's not going to cost that much. And it would help the face of this new group, bring some of that creativity the young people have, because I wouldn't have thought of a QR code, right? I should, because every college student always puts a QR code, but I don't use them, right? But young people do. They maybe, I don't like QR menus, but that's why we have a diversity, and would love to see them, a group of them come up with what this new design might look like, and it just can't be that expensive. I also want to speak, saying I showed up for the last part of the event, and I talked to 4 members of the community and one who wasn't, who, when my wife came by, I thought I was talking to her too closely, but she was really into what I was saying. I wasn't, was trying to respect space, but, and found it a really good way to do outreach. So I love the idea of drafting on other events. I feel bad that people felt we didn't represent our area, but on the other hand, we still have the ability to talk and interact. So I consider it a success. I'm embarrassed I didn't notice Lori was there till the very end. I think I walked by you twice, and what a great event. I even ended up getting my booster shot while I was there because the medical staff were so professional and so nice. I've never seen it efficient, that process. We're just walking by within like the 15 minutes I had to wait. I got something else taken care of. So yes to more events like that, and I definitely think for Candy Cane Lane and other events, it'd be nice to have something a little bit standing out more, because we did have the newsletters, we did have something down on the table, but nothing really behind us.
Well, we have a stand-up sign. We have a couple of them. John has them that are really nice. They're the kind that pop up. They're like 6 feet tall and about 2.5 feet wide. That has our logo on it. That's really pretty. So I didn't even think, John, that would have been so easy just to put behind us and identify. Does the QR code, when somebody uses that, does that record who they are, so we get a database? Can you set it up that way?
I don't know, but mostly what the QR code is a visual way to give somebody a website link, a URL. It's other than having them type it in. Basically, your camera translates it into the URL that just goes into the browser. So it's basically a way to take them without having to do any typing to a specific website.
Okay, well, so, and also, did you collect any email addresses?
I believe I got 5 or 6. Yeah.
What'd you do with them? Did you have them entered?
I haven't entered them yet.
Okay, so you can do that yourself. So what I want to tell you too is, even though I was there for the South Bay City Council of Governments, I had a stash of neighborhood council newsletters behind me. And I obviously was there for work, but to the left of me was Willenberg. To the right of me was Toberman. Across the way was the Harbor Community Benefits. All of those people were mentioned in that newsletter. So I walked over, gave them one, showed them that they were in the newsletter. All of these are networking. Even my boss who was there, who you guys all made me look good, because, you know, I was introduced him to so many people in the community. It was a good event because it wasn't too spread out, that people could really, you know, talk with each other. So I think it was a good opportunity for the neighborhood council. But the question I have for you guys is, at the last board meeting, I guess I didn't articulate correctly, for those of you that were there, that I said that we would be at this event, that we were sharing a table. We really only needed one person to sit at the table, but anybody could come. It's a great event, walk around, engage and talk with people. And Gwen seemed to feel that I was saying that only 1 or 2 people from outreach could even attend the event. I tried to clarify when she asked that, that was not what I was saying, but I'm just wondering why. I know why John Barbera couldn't be there, but why Chris and Dr. Norman were the only ones from our neighborhood council that were there on a beautiful Saturday afternoon to engage with our community. It's reminiscent of the past problems, that outreach spends so much time putting on events and the other board members don't show up, but complain that outreach isn't engaging, but they don't show up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just it in a nutshell. I mean, you know, we just continue to repeat, you know, what we've told them in the past, and it's gonna be up to them to take initiative and act on that, really.
Oh, Kelly has her hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
You're muted. There you go.
Really wanted to go, but I was at the dentist, and by the time I got done and everything else, I was in pain and it was ridiculous. But I'm glad that we are having those things, and I can't wait to be able to go and do those kind of things. I think now that we're, you know, things are opening up a little bit and things are more outdoor, I think that I'll be things. And Lori, I'm sorry, you clarified clearly that everyone could attend. That was
Okay.
not, it was clarified clearly. So
Okay,
I just wanted to let you know that.
that's what I wanted
And
to
I don't know
know.
how to take my,
You're cutting in and out, Kelly. She froze.
I don't know how to take my hand down.
So having said that, you know, when you get to item number 6, maybe you want to discuss that if you're going to have Candy Cane Lane, that one, there's a lot of work for setup for that one. There's a lot of work for takedown, which nobody ever wants to stay for, that you have signups and that people sign up for a shift. Okay, and they make a commitment, and you do that during the board meeting, Chris. Okay, it's just not fair that, you know, John Barbera and I can't even tell you how many events that we were the only ones that were there.
Well, you know, and I'll be frank with you, I don't have a problem telling the entire board that I want these things to happen. I will participate and I will help, but I'm not going to just do it myself. If they don't follow through, that I'm not, you know, it's not going to work if it just falls to, you know, to do that. So I you know, I'll just put it out there at face value. I want this to happen and I'll contribute, but I'm not going to be the only one to do it. I just, you know.
Well, then think about when you get to Candy Cane Lane, if you want to create an online sign up sheet, or during the meeting, you say, okay, who can be there at whatever time, 4:15 to set up? Who, you know, you need to have at least 3 people to take down. It's a lot of work. And then have people there. We're supposed to be, and I'm going to disagree with what Melanie said, that we can't have a lot of board members there. John will tell you later, he's already talked to Octaviano. They wouldn't be having an event like this if we were limited to only 2 people being.
Well, and it's not Melanie's place to make that call anyway.
Okay.
It's fine.
I kind of jumped onto number 6, so I'm sorry, but it's just kind of, I want the new board members to have that opportunity to engage with the community. It's fun.
It is, and when it's done properly and people, you know, it's one of those things that when you know, many hands make light work, and when you get a nice hit, you know, of a positive experience like that, it tends to reinforce people's ongoing participation. It's kind of,
Chris, on top of that, how many people on the board actually, once they knew we're at an event, promoted it? You know, shared with their own social media or their own friends. Hey, the neighborhood council's going to be there. Pass the word on. Outreach is for everybody on the board, not just the committee.
Yeah, and you know, it's again, there are people who participate for a variety of different reasons and different styles. You know,
Styles.
for me, I try to learn a set of expectations for an individual, and then I don't burden myself with asking them more than I think they can. You know, it's like if I think this is why they're there or whatever, I'm just going to save myself the grief of asking them something that I know they can't or won't do. And just, you know, you set your level, and then you're not surprised or disappointed, hopefully too often. And you know, it's fine. I think there, you know, I'd have to take a different attitude if I thought nobody was going to do these things. But you know, if we have a critical mass of people who are, then I think we'll be okay. We have been, you know.
I'm just gonna let you know, I'm taking the 5th. Okay, and I'm gonna take the 5th on keeping my mouth shut about certain people. I'm just letting you know.
Okay. And so, you know, and again, it's not like, it's not such, this isn't you know, the combined houses of Congress. We know who's doing what. There's only about 16, 17 of us. It's you look around and you either recognize the person or you don't.
Maybe because I'm not on the
when
board anymore, I'm a little looser tongued that I don't care. If
That's-
you're not going
that's
to
fine.
participate, I'm going to.
You know, as a stakeholder, that's your right.
Bottom line is when people talk the talk and yet nothing, they don't do anything to help the community. That's where,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, I mean, again, you know, everybody likes to have a little rant every once in a while, but you know, showing up on your day off to move card tables is if that's the big work gets, then you should be willing to do it. But you know, it's a bar too high for some. That's all right.
Anyway, thank you, Chris, for the work you did at the health fair, and having
was-
you as the professional photographer. You made me look good to my bosses too, because I
Well,
had I submitted better pictures than anybody who ever attended an event. They were quite.
I mean,
impressed.
really, and that's I do events like that all the time for elected officials, and it's really about telling the story of the thing. It's there, even if there's a sort of a vague subliminal sense of goodwill about what's going on. You see something positive happening. You might not have any particular interest in it whatsoever, but it feels better than a blank space in the same spot. It feels better than, you know, whatever else would have, you know, gotten your attention at the time. And, you know, it's really about just kind of keeping positive momentum and a positive perception.
Yeah.
Even if people can't put exactly a finger on it, you know, it's like, oh yeah, they do good stuff, or they're involved in whatever.
I'm just saying, we're really blessed to have you on the board to add that photography. So
it's a good skill to have. Again, now that, especially now that this is the way that, you know, we kind of reach out to it. It's the fastest, cheapest, really most impactful way to message. And
but if you could Photoshop away the double chins, that would be helpful too.
I don't do that kind of work for free. It takes forever.
I'm kidding.
Chris, did you put the photos on Facebook?
He put them on Instagram and Facebook.
I posted to Instagram, and that copies automatically to Facebook, which
Or Instagram? Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Those were great shots. You know, Ray in the background, all of everybody, the clear. It was great shots you took of each booth and stuff. That was
yeah, that's you know, again, that's literally what I do for a living, and it's really to give somebody kind of a brief sense of what it would be like to attend, hopefully make it attractive, like this is something I'd like to go to, or this was a good thing even if I don't go. And it's just putting a happy face on. Sometimes, you know, maybe, you know, even whether it's a boring and tedious kind of thing, you want people to have a generally positive impression of what it was or is.
Thank you to Dr. Norman too for coming by.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I forgot you because you came a little later, but we definitely hung out and we did, you know, we did the dance. There was a few people who came by who kind of didn't really know who we were. They weren't even necessarily from Northwest, but the point is, it's the quality of those contacts and not necessarily the quantity. Like if we got 1,000 people to take a pen, that wouldn't be very useful. If we get 5 decent, you know, conversations and a few email addresses of people who are, you know, more interested than average, that's kind of our value added. That's, you know, it's in small pieces, but that's the way we get it.
And do you have newsletters left over?
Quite a few.
Then just drop them off at any local businesses in Northwest that, you know, I already gave some to the Chamber of Commerce. I gave some to Sirens, Java and Tea, because those are places people hang out. But any place that has a lobby, or, you know, if anybody else here has a suggestion or would like some of them, I also have one batch left too.
Okay, yeah, I just need to I'll put them back in the car and when I run in places. And that actually kind of brings us back to item number 5, where, I have, since we last met, and I'll show you, you can't really see it because of the exposure. There is, because, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, that a lot of these companies, these media platforms are owned jointly, Facebook and Instagram, for instance. You can combine accounts so that your feedback, messaging, replies, likes, statistics, all that stuff can be accessed in one place now, which is pretty useful. And I do not have the more, I mean, it's really just kind of statistics talk, but essentially right now, for our Facebook page, Northwest has 1,120 Facebook page likes. So those are people who are going to more or less automatically see whatever gets published. We have 523 Instagram followers, and I'm looking, let me see if I can see what our, oh, it does have trends here. Yeah, this is something I'm not sure if I have access to just through the mobile app, or if I can get it on the webpage. Otherwise, I would share the screen with you, and it's telling you right now there's a problem, something isn't working. Essentially, it allows you to track the growth of your audience. It tells you how, if you put up a post about the health fair, it tells me how many people saw it and how many people liked it, and whether that splits to Facebook or Instagram, what time they looked, what they're, I mean, like, it's, I'm gonna
share right here for you, Chris.
Thank you. I'm gonna sort of
there's some analytical information.
Oh, thank you. That's basically, yeah. So this is basically what I'm talking about. Is that this is sort of the shiny, happy version of big data. All of the downsides that we've been hopefully, absorbing, the ways that this can be used to exploit and manipulate people. At the very least, the numbers, they don't lie. The numbers are useful regardless of your intent for them. So what this can tell us is the age and gender of people who are engaging. So we know when we want to have conversations about the timing or the content or the existence at all of the print newsletter, we can see, how old, are there, are young women, like I think it says in here somewhere that the younger our audience gets, the more it skews female, possibly. I don't know. I mean, you can see the bar graphs there yourself. But the point is, if we were, let's say, a for-profit business or somebody with a capital A agenda who had like regular priorities in terms of what to post and to whom we intend to speak, this would help us, like if we had like an ad staff, this would say, let's use this type of picture, or let's promote this type of event. And that's probably nothing in terms of time and energy that any of us are, want to or need to do for outreach. However, if we do see, for instance, that a particular time of day is better, it's just something I'm going to work on, making sure things get posted at a particular time, with not only enough lead time, but also the right time, whether it's in the morning or the evening. So if we do, for instance, want to look at age and gender breakdowns for who's responding or who's receptive to the stuff we're publishing, it can tell us, like, we need to double down, like if there's a cancer screening, or if there's a community meeting on the parks or whatever, these are the people who, we should, what am I trying to say? Once the software tells us who's listening and who's watching, it can help us, formulate a message, whether it's in timing or content or whatever. So we could probably go as far down the rabbit hole as some people have gone, clearly, in the broader sense, to use this type of data, but it is available to us. And what it's told me recently, the page reach of the Facebook page has increased significantly, and obviously it'll spike. And I'm assuming these spikes coincide with specific publications. More people look when we publish something at all, or something that's more interesting. And likewise with Instagram, which I have made an effort to be more frequent with, even if it isn't necessarily as topical. I after the CPAB meeting, I whipped up a post about securing your vehicle, which is, of course, in San Pedro always just, that's like street smarts. However, a reminder with the dramatic image and, a little bit of verbiage to back it up, is the type of thing that people respond to. And again, it is a valuable piece of information, but it also creates a positive sense of what it is that we're doing. If if you follow a bunch of public agencies and elected officials on Instagram, it is the type of message like, look both ways before you cross the street and wash your hands. You get that all the time. But, for some people who need that message or who wouldn't have thought of it, it helps them. And it also, again, it creates a positive impression of your your actions. So that's what my personal goal is. That's kind of what I've intended for the mission of the social media side of it is. We're not really doing conversation starters. We're not really engaging with people in terms of Q&A or responding to comments, but we've also not gotten many on the Facebook page. We will get some, and it tends to be from the same couple of people, and they have the same general tone, and ignoring them so far has been no downside. So that's what we're going to do. But as we go forward and as other people can get involved in this and contribute or whatever, that may evolve. And obviously from one year to the next, the whole social media thing takes on new dimensions constantly. So we'll just try and keep up. But
I can say that the Instagram is much lower than Facebook only because we haven't posted as much. It's not
right.
really
Yeah, we haven't really pushed it.
of which one's more popular. I just found some of this interesting. As usual, something like the Target is going to be a hot button item. A hot topic rather. So because people have strong opinions on that.
Yes.
I'm always, I do a lot of posting on the Facebook page. I know some of these came up with no pictures. I never post something that's just words. I always try to have some image or people won't open it, just like Chris was saying. And of course, again, it helps that Chris is a photographer, so sometimes he gets better images than normal. But I don't know if anybody else on the committee has any ideas, or we just kind of watch the analytical information. And I don't think social media is the wherewithal for everything, but I see Alex got his hand up.
Well, I just had a couple questions. Do you promote your socials on the website? Because I have not seen them, or even on the newsletter.
I don't believe
what do
we
you
have.
mean, do we post? There's a Facebook link on our website.
But when I go on the homepage, I don't see anything that says that. I can click on stuff that's like an article, but I don't see anything that would directly say you have a Facebook page or an Instagram. So if
That's
I'm
a
a
very good
person going on there, I would want to see that.
Yeah, you're right. And it really, honestly, it should be probably up in the title bar at the very top of the page. I will ask Christina.
Okay.
I mean, I know how I do it on my own personal webpage. It's relatively simple. You drop in a piece of HTML and then the logo just pops up. It's pretty standard. And honestly, there's still some real estate left over for us to put it in there.
Okay, so you'll take care of that, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you could just put that in the notes, that way I'll know it, but I'll do it right after we get off of here.
So basically, we're moving the social media icons to the top of the web page.
Yeah, and it would basically just be the Instagram logo, the face. Oh, I'm sorry, they're at the bottom of the page. So
yeah,
clearly we know how to put them in there. We just have them at the part of the web page that really nobody ever looks at. So yeah, so there's Twitter and Facebook. I need to get a handle on, no pun intended, on Twitter, because clearly an account exists, but I think it might simply copy what we're posting elsewhere, but I don't know, and that's not a good thing to not know about. So we'll have them move to the top, and then I will try and work backwards and figure out where Twitter is connected.
Okay, thank you, Alec. Good idea.
That's a very good observation.
I always just go to our Facebook page. I don't click on the website, but it's good. I don't know how many people actually go to our website.
Well, and it's because we know it's there.
She was, which was still a good idea. I know she had done some research. Most people normally are going to our website to find a meeting or, find something on the calendar.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff there, but again, I think because most other websites will have that or some version of that in a similar location. I think people are probably conditioned to, they know what it means, and it's a very quick, the less time, if you're trying to direct people's attention, the less time it takes you to do that, usually the better, because they'll have a limited amount of patience for any website, and they will tell you how long someone will stay on a website and what it is that they look at and hover over and things like that. So if we give them a link to Facebook or Instagram right at the top, that if that's what they're looking for, then they'll get it more quickly.
Should we do the other way around too, Chris? Sometimes when I'm posting on Facebook, I'll add at the bottom of whatever it is, to get current information, click on nwsanpedro.org. So on the social media, you should be sending them to the website too.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, for Instagram, which is, since the Instagram content is being automatically copied to Facebook, basically the terminology uses link in bio. So if you look at the Instagram profile in the description of what the account is, there's a link that goes directly to nwsanpedro.org. And so generally anything else I need to reference in the body of that post, like if I'm talking about something, like if I say, please attend one of our many community meetings, link in bio, which will pull up a list of, the relevant committees and the agendas. So that's basically because Instagram does not allow you to put an active link in the text of your post. Whatever it is that you intend to link to has to be built into the one link you get that's part of your profile. So it is actually really good. It simplifies things and it keeps people from sort of hijacking your message. But because our website already has a lot of that stuff there, it's what I would want to do if it hadn't already been set up, because it's just a lot simpler to refer people back to the top.
Okay. I'm trying to get us back to our agenda. There we go.
Sure.
There you go.
All right. So that's kind of where social media is. It's picking up pace a little bit. I would add, before we close that out, that we do have more followers on Facebook, but it seems like in terms of comments and likes, actual sort of interactions, Instagram is generating more traffic per post. But again, that's, I know my own personal use of Instagram is I'll scroll through and quickly like something, possibly comment, but then you're very quickly on to the next thing. So it's very easy to cover a lot of ground, more so than Facebook, where you have to do a bit more navigation to get from one thing to another. In Instagram, you pre-select a list of things that you'd like to see, and they come up in more or less an endless loop. So you can cover a lot of ground.
I don't use Instagram, but one thing I like about Facebook, it's real easy for people to share. And if we have an event that people like, we do get a fair amount of shares. Can you share on Instagram?
You do it by, well, it's not as easy. There is not a bit, like, for instance, if you're looking at someone else's Instagram post, and you wanted someone else to see it, the most common way would be to mention that person's handle in a comment. So like, let's say if you had a Lori Jacobs Instagram account and I wanted you to see something, I'd put your name in a comment and you would get a notification that you were mentioned.
Okay, well, it's like that on Facebook too. You can
Right,
tag somebody.
right.
But I meant it's actually like, let's say I'm posting an event.
What I was going to say is
I'll say, hey, please share with people, and then people view.
Right. Well, then that's what I was going to say. The contrast is, and Instagram is designed to be simpler, so it doesn't allow you to repost someone else's content simply. There's third-party software that lets you do that, but that's not something I want to get into. Whoa. So the idea is that, which I think, well, it's simplified. It really allows you to see more in less time. And I couldn't begin to tell you how they decide.
I am not a social media guru. I've gotten pretty good at Facebook, but I definitely would look to usually our younger people to give us some suggestions on how to get better use in mileage out of our.
Yeah, well, Instagram it's lighter and faster, which is its strength. It's basically it's really easy to get something up there, and people don't have to go looking for it necessarily. If they just start scrolling, they'll see it sooner than later. And it's a good starting point. But did we sort of close out the discussion of Holiday Parade and Candy Cane Lane, or did we need to cover that anymore?
You need to cover it. I think John I know has been working on both of them. Maybe he could take the lead on that.
Yeah, I just got information today, so I'll tell you what the update is. Melanie got the paperwork. She was waiting for Laura and all that, and I said,
which
why
event
don't
are you talking about?
Okay, we're gonna go with the first of all, let's go with the parade.
Okay.
And the parade is this. I talked to Elise today, and Elise Swanson is Chamber of Commerce. And so Elise was telling me everything about it, that, she's happy to see us there and everything. And Melanie for a week now has been waiting for paperwork from Laura and Caitlin, which is the new person that answers the phone, and they haven't done anything. And I says, well, give her a call. And they said, well, they didn't want us to talk to Elise. I said, well, I don't know who told you that, but I said, talk to her and everything. So she did. And Elise sent her all the stuff that she needs, the receipt, the invoice and all of that. So that's because that has to be sent in by the 31st.
When you say you mean the sponsorship form?
The sponsorship form,
okay.
What's happening and all that. And then, as I talked to Elise this afternoon, we have 2 new trolleys that they bought last year. And she is going to save a trolley for us. And hopefully we don't have to share. It'll just be for Northwest. So I have that for on our thing. And, you know, and Melanie's going, you know, I have no idea why, but she's still insisting on going to the city attorney, knowing how many people can go into this and how many, can we do? And we have to have, well, Elise talked to her and told her that you're outdoors, do not worry about this and that, you know, those that want to wear a mask, you wear a mask, but it's an outdoor event. And of course the trolley's open, so I don't think you'll have a problem.
Well, and I'll probably, I don't know, I may talk to Melanie, but I don't think she should be going to city attorney on our behalf anyway. It's not something we like. If they haven't, well, don't give them anything to worry about.
Exactly.
Plus,
And
Ask forgiveness, not permission.
I've already talked to Octaviano, and Octaviano said there is, to doing that, there is no problem with you guys doing that or anything.
And there hasn't ever been in the past.
You know, and they just said, he just said, just, be discreet about it, what you do and everything, just follow what's out there. If they say they're not doing this and that, that's okay.
Well,
It's not like it's not like you gotta walk up to people and shake their hands and all of that as a council.
Which we were not doing before anyway.
Exactly.
But really the point is that she's overstepping. She's budget and finance. We love that she helps with the event paperwork. We love that she gets the payments made, but the city clerk, okay, does not to decide policy, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. So John's outreach talking to Octaviano is the right way to go.
And I talked to her today about it, and I said, you don't have to do that. We can talk to Empower LA, Octaviano. Well, he goes, no, but he said, she told me that, the city clerk, they're the ones, and they're over Empower LA and everything. They're and I think she's wrong. I think she's, we don't need to open Pandora's box is what we don't
exactly.
need.
And whether she's right or wrong, we didn't ask her to go do that.
I think her concern is that the city clerk's the one who processes the payment. And if we haven't dotted our I's and crossed the T's the way the city clerk wants us to, but honestly, if the Chamber of Commerce has permission to run an event, who's the city clerk to
Exactly.
change the rules?
Exactly.
And why would the city clerk want to be involved themselves in that? Clearly, they want as little to do with us as possible. Why would they have go out of their way on a Saturday to come mess with us? There's no patrol going to pull us over.
Right. And the other thing too, Chris, it's like I talked to Candy Cane Lane. I had talked to, the owner of Pollyann, which is Diana Costa. And I told her, and she said, yeah, we're doing the same thing every year, so Mel got the paperwork. Matter of fact, I had to give Melanie Diana's cell phone because she doesn't see. I'd done my homework way prior than what she did. And only because it, and I've been doing this so many years with, Lori, I know the system and I know how it works. I know how Lori works. So I was ahead of everything. And she'd been waiting. She said, doesn't get back to me. Call her on her cell phone. Leave her a message on her cell phone. Let her know what you're doing. So she got paperwork and stuff and she sent it in. So that went away. So that way that's in. Now, she goes, well, we still got to find out. I'm waiting for the city clerk to know how many people can be in the booth. Can we do the candy cane? And I said, look, if other people at Candy Cane Lane are going to give out candy canes, that's already pre-packed in a cellophane, plastic wrap. We're not touching it. And besides, they already passed the thing that touching stuff, you can't get COVID.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is that, maybe we have to just talk her down from this, but that
won't listen to me. So,
well, I mean, the public health information is the issue is what people exhale. Essentially, it's respiratory droplets suspended in the air. It's not unless you put that's not what we've worried about since,
well, I'm not ready to sit on them.
Did somebody price out the candy canes? You have to get that approved at the November board meeting if you want these on time. Does anybody have, and if you don't have it, do you want to at least put a motion in to spend, not to exceed a certain amount to buy these candy canes? Because otherwise we can't buy them.
Yeah,
Right, and she said that. She said that. She asked me, she said, what were you gonna do for the crafts? And like I was telling
No,
you,
no, no,
I
not the
said,
crap. Let's
No.
one at a time. The
no, yeah,
canvas.
but that was, she's gonna do both. I mean, we'd have to
Oh,
put in
okay.
for that and for the, the kids to have in, Oriental Trading has I was telling you, has like 3 things. There's 50
Right,
in
but
each.
you have the prices, John.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
we need to discuss it right now. We need to make a motion. Oh, you won't have time to buy them.
okay, well, it's, what we're looking at, she's looking at maybe, enough for 200 kids if they come by,
Okay,
Are
200
we-
is a lot for the crafts. How much do each of the crafts cost?
Okay, the 50, there's 52 a box, it's 15.90 something, and
Just give me a unit price, dude.
So that
well-
would be $64?
no, it's $15.99 for 50 items.
Right, we need 200 of them.
Plus shipping and tax.
Yeah,
Oh.
and so that's the one, and then there's 50 of the other ones that they're like little candy canes with the little, the balls that you stick on it, a wreath and all that. The other one is Santa Claus, 3 faces of Santa Claus. You put the beard, the eyes and
Are they
everything.
all the same price, John?
The 50 of the Santa Clauses are 15, it should be 15.98 or 15.94, and the other one is
Okay, so
16.90 something.
let's round it up with tax and shipping and say, just to be over the amount.
Okay,
say
but do we
25
want
Say $25 for 50 of them and is 150 enough? I think 200 seems like a lot, but
I don't think there's gonna be, you think there's gonna be 150 kids? I don't,
well, you just asked for 200.
well, that's what Melanie wants to get.
I think
Okay.
that's kind of ambitious, but
So,
I mean,
so
so I guess-
$25, so listen, $25 for 50 of them, right? So times 3, if for 150 would be $75 times 3 different kinds. So
No,
you're
no,
looking-
no, Lori. The 3 faces of the Santa Claus,
Yes,
they're in one box. There's 50 of them
right, for $20
for $15.90 something cents.
okay, but you have to add tax and shipping.
Okay,
So I'm saying let's round up high. You can always not spend the money.
yeah, no, that's true.
I've been there, okay? So just figuring high, $25, correct? For
Yeah.
50 of them. So it would be $75 for 150 of them.
And I think
Correct?
that's plenty.
Okay,
You know.
and then, but there's 3 different kinds that you want, right? In other words, you're gonna get, no,
No,
you're
you
getting.
get, there's 3 different kinds in one
So
box.
the kids get to pick one of the 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're talking about $75. Maybe it's just to give yourself a cushion, say for crafts, not to exceed $125. And
Let me
Or
take
somebody-
Right. yeah.
I'm a little confused, John. So I'm a kid, I'm gonna get a candy cane and we have the
That's-
price.
yeah.
list, And then I get a face. Is it just 2 items?
no, it's
No.
a little craft that's wrapped in plastic that you take it home and put it together. It's like
I've
with
seen it,
glue.
but I'm trying to price it out. I want to make sure. It sounded like there were 3 things. So we're
Yes.
buying 1 candy cane per kid, 1 face, which will be one of 3 choices. And is there a third thing, the bag?
Yeah,
or
there's
something?
3 crafts plus we haven't even talked about the price of the candy canes yet.
Oh, you're just with the 3 crafts. Okay. That's-
Right, so you'd get a choice of one of the 3 crafts. Okay, and if they're choosing, then maybe you get, more, I don't know.
and the craft
Well,
bag-
here's how this works. The Santa Claus, there's in a box, there's 50 of them, but they're 3 different Santa Clauses. So I don't know if it's like,
But are they
Right.
already packaged
Doesn't matter.
together?
they're packaged. No, they're not together. They're separate. One Santa Claus might have a yellow trim with yellow eyes. Another Santa Claus might have a different Santa
And are
hat
they
turban.
already packed together to make a Santa Claus, whatever color his eyeballs
One
are?
pack comes with one Santa Claus
Complete Santa
ornament to
Claus.
hang.
There is
Right.
there's a variety of styles individually
Correct.
packaged in the.
I just want to make sure that you don't have to open them all up and put them together as.
No, you can pull, what
Okay.
they do is they separate them.
But you
they'll
have
come
something other
separate.
than a Santa Claus. You have another
Then
item.
there's another 50 in a box that has the, a candy cane.
These are like
Okay.
things to hang from the tree, right?
Right, they each have holes in them, so you can, and it comes with the little rope and everything that you can tie and everything.
Right.
They have the candy cane, so you know, that has, you can make it with the white and red, white and red, white and red, right, balls. Then you have the wreath that comes with the green balls that you put around, you know, and it's already got peel and stick, which is nice. And you stick them all around and then tie the loop on it, you know, the little rope.
Right, right.
And I believe there's a Christmas tree in there. I have to go back and look at it.
So
I have
John,
to-
the more choices you have, the more it's gonna slow things down and the kids are gonna like, "Ah, I don't want that one. I want this one. I think you
Okay,
should
that's
try
what
and
I
cut it
wanted to
back.
bring to you guys. Do we just get the Santa Claus? We can get a couple of boxes of the
Well,
Santa
no,
Claus.
because not everybody celebrates Santa Claus. I'm a Jewish girl. I'll do a candy cane. You have to think about that. If it's like, and you know, something that's generic, like a snowman or a candy cane, but when it's Santa Claus, it's very specific to
So
Christmas.
Let's
It's a
do
person
one
of snow, by the way.
What?
It's a person of snow.
A
not
person of
snowman.
snow. No.
Let's
But-
do
but,
one
you know-
box of Santas and 2 boxes of the assortment. And they're about, you know, with shipping should be 20 each, right? So that's 60. And so we would budget 75 to allow delivery. And then the candy canes, another 25 would buy us candy canes.
Well,
So
no, the
could I-
candy canes we haven't priced yet, but I'm just saying, and John, I'll be down this weekend and we can go through the catalog and you know what, but you have to wait till the board approves this anyway.
Yeah. So
Before
what
you
I'll do
order
is
them.
I'll print out the information and.
Do you have
know,
enough time to get these? What's the date of the board meeting?
The 14th. No,
And you need these by December 3rd.
right.
You're cutting it close.
The,
Well,
oh, right, that's executive committee.
well,
mean-
I mean, is Oriental trading that slow and getting them to you?
You know what? They used to be really great, but you know, with what's going on
Yeah, the
nowadays,
pandemic.
I don't know, but you know what, it is what it is, you know, but we just need to get a motion on there on how much to spend. So what I'm saying is, you know, you're not asking for very much. Ask for like, I'm saying, ask for 150 max for the crafts. You don't need to tell the board all the details,
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
that's the thing. If it's for crafts, we then decide what that. will be.
right? And then how much are the candy canes, the little ones?
I don't know. She said last time you got them at Amazon,
Yes, I believe I did.
I'll look it up
Yeah.
right now.
because you remember you remember in 2019 when we got the longer ones?
Yes, we didn't get candy
They
canes.
came
we
in
got
a
candy
box,
sticks,
right?
yeah.
But you remember how many broke in that box in each
Oh,
tub?
they always break. The candy canes
All
break.
right,
Yeah.
I see here on Amazon, mini red and white mini candy canes with real peppermint, 450 for $45.
There you go. So again, put a little cushion, put down something like $70 for candy canes. And honestly, we could just go to Costco.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
wherever
or
to have
or
them,
to
but
Smart and Final, okay?
how many candy canes should we have? Because we don't necessarily have to buy 450 either.
No, actually 400, if they go, people will come up and everybody in the
Yeah,
family wants
obviously.
one.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, we can, even if I have to, I can order
And
that.
honestly, Chris, whatever's left over, you can donate to the Assistance League or something.
Yeah, well, and that's fine. I'm just saying, like, worst comes to worst, I can just, if I can get reimbursed, I can just have them primed here for, overnight for nothing.
Okay, so I just want to, because I got to write this out as a motion for, and then we got to vote on it. So just to cover ourselves, I'm going to say not to exceed 150 for crafts that are handout crafts, and not to exceed, how much were those little candy canes?
$45 plus tax.
Okay, so
$50.
we'll say not to
Yeah.
exceed $60.
Yeah.
Does that work
That's
for you
fine.
guys?
Yeah, because from Amazon, it's free shipping, so.
So we're talking about, $210, and we probably won't even spend all of it.
No,
And honestly, in the office, there's plenty of holiday decorations for us to decorate the booth. And of course, we have a lot of beads and pipe cleaners because we used to have the kids make them. So maybe next year you'll be able to do that again.
yeah, that would be good, like we did last time, and then they,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So that's what's happening, if
Oh,
she did
Kelly's
all the
got her hand up,
paperwork
John.
today.
Kelly,
Huh?
Kelly has her hand up.
Go ahead.
You know what? You may have to put together, if you want to do crafts, you may have to use those beads and stuff and put them together, because Oriental Trading is 4 to 6 weeks delivery usually. And I think right now they're even way behind.
Well,
But
you know what, John and I could research some other things. There's also Rhode Island novelties, but we can't do the ones that are in the office. The only way we could is if we went into the office and we pre-bag them, but they have to be sealed bags. I don't think we could just put them.
Yeah, they have to be, from what I've read online, they'd have to be, you know, they have to have where, you know, they use the heat, the heat machine and seal it.
What?
Yeah, you can't.
John, we can take a trip over to Michael's or to Joanne's and see if they have something.
Well, yeah, no, but I'll look after the meeting. I'll look real quick online back on Oriental. I have it up already.
No,
and
but
I
the problem
saved...
is you can't order them until the board approves it on November 14th. And Kelly's telling you right there that their shipping is slow.
I know. But I'll still check, you know.
So are you guys good with a motion that says for Candy Cane Lane that we will spend $210, approximately 150 for crafts and 60 for candy canes with a not to exceed?
Yes.
Okay, so John, that's your motion. Somebody second it.
second it.
Okay, Kelly second.
You know what? I mean, I don't know if this is overstepping, but if you guys want to go ahead and order the Oriental Training, and if you don't get approval or they can't get them, I'll buy them for my classroom. And I think that it would behoove us to order them now, like today or tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking to do. I
can always buy them for my classroom and use them for my classroom.
And I'm always glad to buy them and donate them to like Harbor Interfaith, but we can't say that, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, the meeting is.
I hear you,
recorded,
wink,
but,
wink.
Yeah.
And Kelly, thank you.
Yeah, I think that it'd be a good, we just need to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, I'm also scrolling through Amazon here, which I, despite other reasons not to shop there, they do still have predictable shipping. And there are holiday craft assortments that are, maybe if it's a last ditch sort of thing or whatever, there are options, because if anybody can get stuff, they can.
Okay, and we have a few days, John, you're bringing your granddaughters over to make holiday ornaments on Saturday afternoon. We'll look then.
Yeah, well, I'll look tonight, Lori. I've got it. I've already got them saved on the account. So let me see what I'll find out what shipping.
You guys want to vote on the motion?
Oh, yeah, let's call the vote. So all in favor of requesting the aforementioned amount to procure crafts, candy canes, et cetera, please, or if there are no objections, let's consider the motion passed. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Okay, and then as far as the because we've already voted last month on the sponsorship fee on the parade, again, there's some decorations in the office and we have signage. We actually we have a magnetic sign, but I don't think it works on the trolley, but we could figure out ahead. It's too big. But
Lori, what happened to the ones that we did on the one trolley from Long Beach, where we did the wire ties? We wire tied it to the side.
The magnetic sign? We have like 4 magnetic signs.
No, this was a regular sign. I thought you had them made.
No, if you remember correctly, somebody who shall remain unnamed from Central Neighborhood Council made it and put their neighborhood council on it too.
Oh, right. Did we put our side? No, we had one on one side and they had theirs on the other side, if you remember.
Signage is easy. We can come up with that.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
All right. So I think we've covered Candy Cane Lane and the holiday parade pretty thoroughly. Or at least we know where we're going to go forward from here.
Chris, am I going to mention in the notes a sign up for Candy Cane Lane? I don't have the details yet on the times.
Well, I mean, we know in general it's from early evening to, I would say 5 to 9 is typical commitment.
Right.
Well, but you set up.
But we got to be there about 4 o'clock, 4:15.
Right, because you have to get in there and you have to get your car out of there.
Yeah, Yeah, well, I mean, so we can say 4 to 9 and, you know, we can always,
So I'm asking, do you want to me in the meeting minutes to list like setup and then booth time and then takedown? So like setup would
yes,
be, so some people would work 4 to 6. Some people would work um maybe say 5 to 7, so you have overlap.
yeah.
And then
And
some
that,
people
we
work 7 to 9 or
7 to 9, yeah,
last shift.
yeah,
Okay. All right, I'll include that in there and let you announce it.
okay, thank you.
Chris, if I should have said something earlier in public comment. Melanie is looking for this Saturday. I guess they're doing the cleanup,
Oh,
right?
No, the
I think-
cleanup's on November 6th.
Or November 6th, I'm sorry, November 6th. And she wanted to know, she needs at least 1 or 2 person to stay on at the booth at the park and to give out waters to anybody that, you know, refill their waters and that if there's anybody that was gonna,
Well, she's asking for the outreach committee to do that. I don't understand. Why wouldn't anybody from the board do that?
don't ask me. She just, you know,
yeah, well, I think there's enough, well, I mean, actually, there won't be enough lead time. We're not gonna, oh, yeah, she would need to have those people in place. You said November 6th?
yeah,
Does she-
November
no,
6th.
I'm at a Girl Scout first aid training, but John, does she need the easy up or just a table with our tablecloth?
Well, she asked me about the easy up. I mean, if it's gonna be warm that day or the sun's gonna be out, they, you know,
More than likely.
So
Um,
is she gonna ask for this on her report or she wants outreach to ask for it?
She should probably do it on her report, but I,
she's looking at that. She's just looking for, you know, volunteers to do that. I
Well-
told her I can't because I'm gonna be at Old Navy for OSB.
She's
Yeah.
also handing out plastic water bottles, which is against our mantra.
Well,
Well,
she
that's
said
always
they're
gonna-
gonna fill up their water bottles or whatever.
She's, last I heard, she was gonna have water bottles donated, like plastic water bottles.
I mean, I think any kind of dispenser or whatever is gonna be problematic.
Well, she said on the flyer, people should bring a reusable water bottle that they can fill. And,
Hmm.
you know, I mean, there's
I-
water.
well, she's gonna have to, again,
I think she's setting up at Harbor Highlands Park.
Yes,
well, I will be in attendance, public safety on Thursday, so I will both get some
Oh, okay, good.
information.
So then maybe
Yeah.
you guys can talk about it then. Great.
so I figured that, Chris. I know you're gonna be there at our meeting, so you know, maybe we can get more out of her about this, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to find out what she needs.
Okay.
All right, and our final item here is just, we'll make it quick and simple. We came up with the idea that, you know, as we begin to do things in person, and Thomas had his on at the health fair, that essentially kind of a staff T-shirt, something just real informal and simple, but very clearly branded and obviously related to Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council would be good to have on a T-shirt again. If I can quickly, let me.
Melanie also researched that with the city clerk too. And the city clerk told her that we could only buy enough shirts for 1 board member and committee chairs, which is very limiting. You'd have to have exact sizes and you're not going to get any kind of price break.
Yeah,
You might be better just making some fancy name badges. Remember, we used to have board name badges.
yeah, we could. I find the shirts easier to remember because
Yeah,
I
it
left
is.
the house without my
Oh,
name
Kelly
tag
has her
the other
hand
day.
up.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you know what? We can get T-shirts at the T-shirt shop right there on Anaheim and Western. And as long as we have our logo online or like an electronic version of our logo,
We do.
we can print those on a Cricut on vinyl and iron them on. They're very simple. T-shirts are very simple to make.
The problem is you have to get everybody's shirt size, because according to Melanie, okay, we can only buy the exact number of board members and committee chairs. We used
Well,
to
you know,
always, we've never done it like that.
No, and again, you know, this seems to be circling back to a theme. Melanie's connection to this is to manage the payment of these things, not the production of them. So, you know, I'm of the mind that if city clerk or whoever has a problem, they can come tell us about it. I don't know that we need to give them opportunities to tell us how to do something we've already done in the past. If we make a
I
couple of
agree,
more,
but Chris,
if it-
she's trying to save us the heartache of getting
well,
rejected.
but you know, but I've seen what they have and have not been willing to come after us for. And if they want to come count T-shirts, then we can do that, or we can just, you know, hide them or whatever. I'll put 2 on, and I'll just say it's 1 shirt. I don't think it's worth, you know, letting the perfect be the enemy of the good in this case, where we just want to get the shirts made. And I'd like to have them screen printed 100% cotton shirts that look the way we want them to look, if it's worth, you know, if we were going to bother doing it at all. I'm trying to, I thought I could.
I know the place Kelly's talking about, that's,
Yeah, and I know there are other, it's not.
and
in
they
this
have a
group.
huge selection of colors and
So it seems
Yeah.
reasonable though to survey everyone on the board,
They're 100% cotton too.
you know, why wouldn't we want to get the size that fits each person on the board so they can wear it, right? So
Yeah, we would do that anyway, yeah.
So let's just do that in the order, you know, is there a problem with ordering a number that's equal to the number of the board, or are we trying to order?
well,
X?
just then if you know, somebody leaves the board and you get a new person, you don't have any spares
Yeah, it would be good to have a couple of spares, and, you know, again,
in the
Maybe
most
we could
common
say-
sizes, yeah.
we could say that we're ordering so the committee members have them or whatever, because if they're having an outreach event, for instance, and committee members who may not necessarily be board members are attending, we would like them to have a shirt, or what, you know, it's
That's,
not
yes.
gonna go to the circuit court for appeal. It's just,
Oh, and then she said they have to be priced reasonably. Okay, so that is like a subjective word that means nothing to me, but
yeah, that's, again, that's not,
we're getting gold lame t-shirts, okay?
yeah, I think that's kind of overthinking it and overworking it. But I was going to try and
Our
quickly,
logo actually looks better like on a lighter colored shirt, unless you put a border around it. If you put a white border around it, it's fine. You could use a black shirt. A lot of people prefer a darker color. It's slimming and doesn't show the dirt.
yeah, that's true. We have in the past we had black print on yellow, which is of course San Pedro favorite, and although I think yellow ink on black would look great.
That's
We
what I
also have-
voted for. I was outvoted.
Yeah, and then we had white print on red, which also looks nice, but it's just not particularly related to
They
anything.
did that particularly for the holiday events, so it would look
Okay.
holiday-ish.
Yeah, so in this case, we're not going to have that this year anyway. So I would suggest that we probably try and do yellow on black. It seems to be, you know, Pedro themed, straightforward, and otherwise inoffensive. In terms of the design, and this is something we can circle back to after the actual expenditure has been approved, we got it set up. We have the existing design, which is really just the verbiage in Cooper Black typeface. I'm trying to find an example of that, and I actually
Thomas, do you have your shirt handy? Doesn't it say we
Oh.
love San Pedro? We heart San Pedro,
Yeah.
it says. But we don't have we didn't have this logo when we had those shirts made.
right.
I'll have to
and
go
so-
check the laundry or.
Yeah, well, and Yeah, and well, if I can't find it now, again, we'll have time to share these things before we actually start making anything. But
And
anyway,
then everybody will argue about whether it should be on the front or the back of the shirt.
well, not everybody, just the people who are in this committee who are going to task themselves with doing it. That's the thing about being a creative, is that if you're not paying me, then I'll nod and go on with what I was thinking. We can just basically look at these things amongst ourselves, and it's relatively easy. I don't really have any kind of graphics in mind. We can obviously use the logo, and then just something that says the name of the neighborhood council. Is very easy to come up with variations of that.
the name is in the logo. What I think would be important would to be put our website on there, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, you want a shirt that people will be willing to wear as a shirt otherwise. So maybe
Well, our logo's
NWSPNC
beautiful.
right, but I'm saying is that the layout and all that stuff is important, more important for a garment than it would be another.
Chris, do you want
presentation.
these shirts for the Christmas holiday events? I don't
That's
think.
what I was gonna say. Can we
Yeah.
have them for Christmas?
If we
Do
could
you
get them
guys
that
have a
quickly,
printer that you've
if-
typically used?
if we could get them that quickly, I would certainly wear one. I just,
You have to have it on this. You have to have a motion with a dollar amount, and
that's the
and
problem.
we're not
I
ready.
don't- know what to ask for. Do you remember offhand, even ballpark, what it was in the past?
No, because we bought at least 100 shirts at a time because we gave them away at Pathways to Employment. All the people who worked the event wore the shirts. So we bought them in bulk.
So, and things would have to
Maybe Kelly
essentially,
knows. You know, is the average shirt about $7, $6?
Well, yeah, if you buy them without the logos and stuff, when you buy them printed, they're about anywhere from 15 to 20.
Do they
Yeah.
print them for you there?
Well, there's a couple different places. San Pedro High, not San Pedro High, Willenburg has a print shop and they make t-shirts.
oh,
I've gone to Rinswear and she'll do it. She does they've done all my shirts, my San Pedro shirts forever. The other guy who I used to go to closed, I think Urban Feet does. And there's
Cali
another
Mucho is
guy-
a place I know of.
I really
Mhm.
like the idea of going to Willenburg because they are in Northwest
Yeah.
and we're supporting those students with disabilities. I think
Would
that
there be
would,
an issue with us going sort of interagency? Well, if they're not a city department actually, so, but how would it be, like, would there be a problem with us paying for something that comes from another public agency?
Willenburg's a school, but
Right, but I'm saying
It's
it's LA
nonprofit.
Unified, but
yeah,
like-
they're for profit or not for profit?
Nonprofit. They're nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
we're just paying the cost of the thing.
Probably. You know, the principal was at the event at the Cabrillo thing, came up and said hello because I was sitting next to their booth.
I'm trying to get in touch with them right now because I'm having signs made by them. So I'll call tomorrow and find out.
Okay, I didn't even know they had a print shop.
Yeah.
That's very good to know. That's actually kind of perfect.
Yeah.
There's a printer I know whose work I really like, and I would be, willing to recommend. However, it's not Northwest, and he's, has his own private business. If we could get the right amount of shirts made, and if they're not worried about making a profit off it, we get the exact right amount of shirts that look the way we want, and it's in Northwest, and it's all the.
So could we take a
Right.
chance on putting a motion in figuring, you have 17 board members, plus do you want, you don't just give one to a committee member, you give it to a committee member who's gonna show up at an event. I don't know
Right.
how many
Let's say that-
shirts.
25 shirts? Next round number, 30?
Sounds about right to me.
Well, if you want extras 30, and then we could justify it. If we get an amount equal to all the people serving the committee, that should be permitted. And then you'd have some extras for people.
Yeah, I think if you look at like 30, it sounds like if it's Willenburg, they could print more and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and once they make the screens, they can, they just make more or not.
So Kelly, can you give your contact name to Chris so he can talk to them about what artwork that requirements they have?
Yeah. Chris, I don't think I have your number directly, but I can always send it to Jen.
Yeah, she's in the next room.
So let's make a motion.
Tell her hi for me.
So a motion to have 30 shirts for board and committee members. Do you want to estimate how much do you want to, how much they charge to do the printing part of it?
I don't know. I'd have to ask. I can find out.
Well,
Yeah, let me see if I
unfortunately,
can-
we're gonna have to make a motion tonight if we want
Right.
it to be voted on at the board to have them in time
20
for the
safe.
holidays.
You want to
So-
figure $20 a shirt?
Yeah, I think that's safe. It shouldn't cost more.
Okay, so, the city clerk's gonna have a little baby cow there, but,
Will they though? Because we have tons of money.
So
Um,
if
well-
we do the 30 shirts at 20, we're looking at $600.
$600. But you've got the Melanie Outreach Prevention Team, so I don't know.
Well,
Let's
she could-
try it.
Yeah, we're not gonna get anything by not trying it.
And then if we get-
So Chris,
Slap.
Chris, I hear you making a motion.
I do.
Yes, I hear it. This is what
So
I'm
moved.
hearing. To move to have
I second it.
30 shirts, okay, estimated
exceed.
at $600, designed to be approved, and you guys will have to work behind the scenes. We know the logo should be in there. I
Yeah.
trust you completely to, I don't know about everybody else. You guys trust
Well-
Chris to come up with the right stuff and the right
Well,
color?
what I can
It's an
do is,
artist, yes.
I can circulate I can circulate some ideas, that's, I guess it's, as a committee, are we allowed to have offline, or no, we can't do non-public,
One person at a time, just you can't do a whole
what I'll
committee.
probably do then is, I'll create a web gallery, and send you guys a link that has,
Just keep it
you
simple.
can
Chris.
go to the link and see what the options are. And I think I can set it up that you can make comments and things like that, and vote or whatever.
But do you really have time to do this?
I mean, some of the art already exists. I mean, it's actually the fastest way to do it. It's
And you
certainly,
have the high res version with no background logo.
I don't believe I do. If you could just send that to me to make sure,
Okay.
then I, you know, if
I'll send
it'd be
that to
faster
you.
than me finding it.
Okay.
But yeah, really, the rest of it is once you essentially locate that one logo, that's kind of the anchor of the whole thing.
And honestly, if you
anything
take
else?
that logo and put it on different colors, you'll see what color shirts make sense. Because you can see
Yeah.
the logo right in front of you guys, right? The black's no problem. It's the blue wavy lines. You can print the logo without the blue wavy lines if you want, but that was supposed to represent, you know, between that and the seagull that we're a port town was the concept there.
Yeah.
So you can't really print that on a dark color. You need to have a light colored shirt. And you can't really use light blue because then you'll lose the wavy lines.
Yeah.
You know, unless you use the logo with a total white background in a box, which doesn't look as nice, but
Well, we could do it inverse, light print on a dark shirt, or you know, I'll be able to sort of mock that.
okay, I will send that to you tonight.
Thank you.
Hey, you think I can have my Italian flag on that? Never mind.
If you want to, you know, you can
You can embroider anything you want on your
Yeah.
shirt, John.
If you're good with the needle, you can make magic on your own.
Yeah.
I could always ask my mother. She does a very good job. You know?
That's
If you have a small Italian flag and 4 safety pins, I think you're over the finish line.
Thank you, Kelly, for all those great suggestions.
And very timely as well.
I had no idea that Willenberg, and you know, I was so busy at the event, I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I saw they had like little jewelry and stuff, and I think that's what he said. They have like a laser cut machine or something that they.
Wow. That's pretty
At Christmas time, they also have a bakery where you can go buy baked goods and
Yeah,
stuff.
that I know. Yeah.
2 of my students graduated from there 2 years ago, and they're still in CBI. And so they made pins and coffee cups and really cute stuff. So I'm trying to utilize them for more things. I mean, I'm right across the street from them.
Absolutely. We have partnered with them. We helped them get their buddy bench there many years ago.
Wow.
With the Rotary. So yes, that would be awesome to partner with them, especially since they're in Northwest.
cool.
Well, we learn something new every day, don't we?
Well, not every day, but today anyway.
Yeah.
I try to learn something new every day. I always say there's nothing new under the sun. It's just what they're calling it now.
Yeah, I find if I just keep making mistakes, I have the opportunity to learn all the time. So
Yeah, that too.
So what else? What else we haven't heard that much from Adrianita. What's going on, girl? Just school?
Yeah.
that's enough.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So, well, we're really trying to cram a lot in a short amount of time. So
Yeah. Well,
kudos
I
to you
mean,
guys for trying.
yeah, I mean, it's, good to be busy, right?
Chris, I hate to ask this question too, but you need the shirt sizes. How are you going to get the shirt sizes for committee? I would just get the shirt sizes for the board members and committee chairs, and then just order like all large and extra large for the extra ones or something.
Essentially, yeah. I think we'll find out what sizes are available, but probably if they're 100% cotton, then if you don't get anything smaller than a medium, you can just wash it in hot water and shrink it a little bit or whatever. It's, or wear a layer under it, especially considering when we hope to have them available.
Well, I like my t-shirts bigger.
Yeah, myself as well. Again, so I think if we basically air one size larger, we'll probably not create too many problems.
Try to find a vendor that does at least double X. I think we have one board member who might want a triple X.
Okay. Yeah,
I want double X.
If you got hats, you wouldn't have this problem. I know, seriously.
well, but anyway, who wears hats though?
Ball caps.
Yeah, only
All right, I'm just saying, most of our heads are the same size. There's a
Well,
couple of board members who have really big heads, but
I can't mess up my hair with a hat.
Oh,
Sorry.
you do. I was just
Yeah,
trying to think of something that would be easier than trying to get.
Right, Chris, we got to leave our,
But this doesn't just happen. Actually, it literally does. But yeah, our heads are more similar in size than the rest of our bodies are, but that's a whole other thing.
Okay.
All right, well,
You know, like Dr. Norman said, I know he's talking about a triple, personally, a 4XLT is what I wear.
okay, well, again, we'll kind of skew one side, and I know they exist. We can, like, in fact, what I'm thinking is if we need to, we could even just order shirts and bring them there to be printed. So
Yeah.
what I'll try and do is in the next few days, I'll come up with sort of a, a mock order, and then I may email people and ask, if we were making t-shirts, what size would you like? And that should be, if they don't answer, then we'll just kind of guesstimate.
Can you, during the board meeting, have a form that they could just fill it in? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, I mean, just to, even in the chat or whatever, we can, it's something I can jot down pretty quickly if we need to.
Okay.
Wow, my power's going in and out right now.
Oh, I heard I have a uninterruptible power supply, which I hear clicking now that you mentioned that. I wondered where that was. That's not good.
Is
No,
it,
it
is it
flashed-
still
it
raining
flashed
hard
here.
there?
No, it's cleared.
No, it's
Oh,
not right
okay.
now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
'Cause
windy a little while
I'm
ago.
up in the mountains still, so.
No,
Oh,
my lights just flashed twice over here.
mine
That's not
too.
good.
And we're quite a distance apart from each other. Because
Yeah,
I'm over on 21st Street.
yeah, and I'm here off of Gatun.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, folks.
Chris, I'll try to have these minutes typed up like by tomorrow, because there's so much involved. I think I'll run them by you before I submit them.
Sure. I mean, hopefully by tomorrow I'll remember what we talked about and be able to validate that.
Have a cup of coffee. It always helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought about having a cup of coffee. Today was my day to take my great niece for her birthday, and I've got to get all these meetings straight. I remember public safety on Thursday, but oh my gosh, my brain is like, I forgot a training I was supposed to go to. This meeting, I'm like, okay, if I don't have it in my calendar, it doesn't exist. I've got to make sure I do some kind of link or something.
Well,
Well, remember, we're now the fourth Monday.
of the month. So this is the
All
first
right.
time we've had a Monday outreach meeting.
Okay, that's what threw me off then, because I'm like, I was ready for it, and we changed it because of the holiday, and then it was on a day of the week that I don't know.
Don't worry about it. Chris, do you want to reach out to Maya and find out if she really wants to be on this committee? I mean, we partly changed it to Monday for her.
Yeah. I'll try and look her up.
Okay. So.
Okay.
Okay. Well, unless anybody else has anything else pressing, I can get a motion to adjourn.
I
Motion.
motion to adjourn. I second.
Okay, so if there are any objections to adjournment, please voice them now.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. The recording is ending now.